Welcome back to Design Bundles YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Crystal, and today we're going to go over everything for Cricut Design Space whenever it comes to downloading and using your own fonts. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's go ahead and start off over here on designbundles.net. Let's go over, downloading the whole process. How do we get our files, download them, etc. So I want to go over all the details. So whenever you find a font that you want, so say for example, I'm over here in the Plus membership. So if you guys are a Plus member, you could actually go to your Plus membership right here, and then you can just scroll down here. So on the left-hand side, you're going to see where it says font categories. From here, you can choose whether you're looking for a regular, a script font, etc. Once you click on them, so for example, I've clicked on script font. When you click it, you're going to have more options. So for example, if I click on regular, I have more options come up here. So we're under script. We're looking at a few of these. Now, I want to show you, for example, we're going to go over this one right here. I've actually done a tutorial using this one. So we'll have it linked above or down below. I believe we went live with that one before, but we're going to use it today because I'm going to show you how, if you're using a Mac, how you can access your glyphs. So you can do this with any of these fonts, but I'm going to show you with this one how to access your glyphs. So we're going to do this one. And then I'm also going to show you guys how to do a knockout with that, etc. Now, for example, here's some really pretty ones. I want to show you how to do the offset and things like that. So let's go ahead and do that. So I've already downloaded this one. But all you have to do to download a font is you're going to click on download now. Or if you've purchased it, you would have a little tab next to it that says download now. So you're going to go ahead and click on that. Once you download it, it's going to pop right up here at the top. Once you click on that, your downloaded files compared to these files right here, or like SVGs, PNGs, but whenever it comes to a font, it'll actually look like this. So it looks like a page with the letter A on it. What you'll simply do is just double click on that. Once you double click, it's going to pop you to your main screen. From there, you are going to have a screen that pops up like this. I'm going to exit out of here because we'll get to that in a second. So the very first screen, once you double click on that file, you're going to get a screen like this. And to install it on your computer, all you're simply going to do is click on Install Font. So what this is doing is giving you a demo or an example of what the font looks like, and you're just simply going to hit install. So once you install it, you can open up Cricut Design Space. Now, keep in mind that if you already have Cricut Design Space open, you're going to have to either exit completely out of Cricut Design Space and come back in, or if you've already saved your file, make sure you have saved if you're working on anything before you attempt this. Scroll up here to the top of your screen, and you're going to see where it says View. From here, you're going to click on View, and then you see where it says Reload. So if your screen ever freezes with Cricut Design Space, you guys know that we sometimes have some bugs whenever they do new updates and things like that. If you ever need to do a force reload, you can also find that here as well. So what you're going to do is click on Reload, and now the font will be available. So until you completely exit out or come back in or click on the Reload, your font's not there. To find your font, you're simply going to click on your text. So right here on the left-hand screen, you have an icon here that says text. You're going to click on it, and then from here, you see where it says font. We're going to drop that down. And then what I can do to narrow this even further is I can click on System. So if you click on System, now it's highlighted in green. I'm going to go ahead and grab my keyboard here so we can start to search. So what I can do is, number one, scroll through these here, or B, I can start to type that out. So I know it's beige, so I'm going to go ahead and just type in BE. And now I can see that here. So all I got to do is click on it, and we're ready to type. Now, Cricut has recently done an update to their text. So now you have an actual text box system going on here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see what we've got going on. So it's really cool because it writes really quickly. So they've done a lot of work on their text here. So what we're going to do is we're going to double click. So we're going to come on this side, and now I'm going to go ahead and delete this. So normally what used to happen when you would click on it, you would just get this and you would start typing out, where now it says text. You're going to double click and go on the end there. So as I start to type out, you can see that here, and it just works so flawlessly. So I really do like it. So I'm going to go ahead and type out Design Bundles, and then hit enter, and bundles. There we go. if I could spell it correctly. All right. So design bundles, right? So here is our logo, or whether you're doing your name or whatever it may be. Now, once you type this out, you don't have to just leave it like this. You can spruce it up and do a whole lot more things like add an offset and things like that. Now, years ago, Cricut has done a lot over the last few years with their fonts. And so used to, you had to bring it in. So if you watch a lot of our older tutorials, or maybe you're searching recently, you may run into an older tutorial where it shows you to ungroup them and bring those letters together. You no longer have to do that whenever it comes to your script fonts. It automatically, as you can see, it's super flawless, right? So a few things that we can do. I want to actually, move these in. So a couple things we can do. We can either right here, I can drop down to center, and that's going to kind of center those two. So you see how it's done so. Now to bring that in, a couple different options, like I said, you can either come to, see how there's letter spacing? There's also line spacing. So if you hit the down arrow here, you're going to be able to bring that in. Now, if you know, for example, I can put in, let's say I'm going to put in -10, enter. You'll get used to those. So that's way too much. I'm going to put in -5, enter. So you can move it like that. You don't always have to just sit here and push this. You can play around with that until you're happy. Now, another thing that you can do is you can actually go to advanced. You can either ungroup these to letters, so if you were doing some individual work, or B, we can ungroup them to lines. So I'm going to go ahead and ungroup to lines, and now these two are separate. So it was in one solid text box. So never feel like you have to, hit text, for example, and I'm going to type out design, okay? And then I would hit text again, and then I would do the bundles. You can always type it all out together, and then I'm going to go ahead and delete these here. You can always type them out together and then separate them using the advanced options, ungrouped lines. So that's another option. Now, what if we wanted to, spruce this up and add like an offset? How do we do that? So we're going to come right over here to the offset. So you can see that little icon here. We're going to click on offset and then give it just a little bit. If something is in beta, like this offset right here, this feature is in beta, it may or may not work one day to the next. It may work flawlessly one day and it may have issues the next. It's because they're still working on it and designing that program. So say you're watching this 5 years from now, it may no longer be in beta. So you have a couple different options. You can have rounded corners. So rounded corners, you can see how around the corners here, obviously it's rounding them. Or you could click on this one here and it's going to give us more of a squared off design. So we'll give it just a little bit to see if it's going to update for us. Now, once again, it's in beta, so it may take just a second. So there is several different things that you can do here whenever it comes to offset. So I'm going to go ahead and hit apply now that I'm happy. Once you hit apply, it's automatically going to turn black. So say, for example, I'm actually wanting this offset to be pink. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And then I could come in here. I could click the text box. So the way that I'm accessing these different layers is right here on the right-hand side of the screen. You can click on each layer like so. So we're going to go ahead and click on the letter D because that's for design. And to change those colors, as you see me do, click on that. You can tell that it's highlighted. You can see the darker gray. We can come over here to the left-hand side and you see that color box here. We can now change that color. So you see how we did the pink and the blue there. Now, if I really wanted to narrow this down and really kind of visually see, I have a particular blue in mind, I could click advanced. If you know your hex code, you can enter that here. So say, for example, if you do, say I do cheer bows for the high school and I know their exact hex code for the school colors, I can actually enter those there and it's going to be precise so I can visually see that. So say, for example, I'm selling those cheer bows. I need to be able to show my clients what it's actually going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and play around. I could drag this around here and that's going to allow me to adjust that blue there and really play around with it. So once you're happy with it, just simply exit out of there and you're good to go. And then same thing, if I want to go ahead and add an offset to this one, I could do the same thing. Now I want to show you while we're in the offset here, you can adjust your offset. So if you see how it's already there, it's showing us a demo here. If you take it to the left, it's going to give you a smaller line around it. Or if you take it to the right, you're going to really get a bigger area. Now let's say I wanted it nice and big and chunky like this. We're going to hit apply. So say I want to get rid of these areas right here in between. I'm going to click on that layer, which is already selected here. You can see it. We're going to click on contour. And then from here, I'm going to just simply hit hide all contours. And now I have that complete background. Now, what are these good for? What is this offset good for? Let's say, for example, I'm going to turn this offset to white. And then this font right here is going to be, let's just say that it's going to be this blue color right here. So what I could actually do with this is create a sticker. Now, how do I turn this into a sticker? Because this is actually two separate layers. So if I was working with HTV, I could have my back layer, and then so this would be a 2-layer project, or I can make it one solid layer if I was making something like a print and cut sticker. So I'm going to go ahead and hit undo just to put that back where it belongs. I'm going to select these 2 layers because, like I said, they're 2 separate layers. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and hit flatten. And what this has done now is this is a sticker. So if I go to do this, you see how now it's labeled a print and cut. It's no longer a basic cut. It's a print and cut. Now, as you can see, we're getting a warning because it's way too big. If I shrink this way down, obviously that warning is going to go away. So I'm going to go ahead and change my background color. To change your background color to see something, my background color is right here. See where it says blank canvas? If you click on that, you can then come up here to your color box and you can change it. So for example, we'll change it to black just so I can see it here. So now you can see that white offset really pop off that background there. So this is going to be a sticker that I can have cut out. So such really fun things that you can do. So if you ever see one of our fonts and you wonder, well, how does it have these 2 layers here? You need to add an offset to that back side. So now let's go ahead and get into the glyphs. For our very next font, I'm going to show you guys how to add glyphs. What are glyphs? Glyphs are these little tiny swirls on the ends of our fonts and also little hearts and things like that. So if you ever see those and you wonder, how do I access those? How come when I'm writing something out, that heart's not popping up for me? You need to access your glyphs, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So what we are going to do is we're going to head back on over to Cricut Design Space. All right, so now that we're over here in Cricut Design Space, I don't need to exit out or reload because this is a font that I've already had on my system for quite some time. So all I simply have to do is go to text. We're going to go to font here, and then I'm going to go to system first, and I'm going to type out heart. If you go ahead and just type out a piece of the name of that font, it's going to pop up for you. So it's right here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a little bigger once again, so that way you guys can see good. We're going to double click here at the end of this, backspace it, and we're going to start to type out. So for this one here, we're going to go ahead and type out Ashley. Now for this one, I need to put that little swoosh in the beginning. For this one, it's pretty easy. So if you hit Shift and then 8, you're going to, so it would be Shift and star is what you're doing. So you're going to get that first swoop. Now the rest of them, I'm going to show you how to access those in a minute, but this one is pretty easy. It's just Shift, star. If you ever want to know, how can I find out where, what the shorthands are these? If we have any, sometimes they're available. There's an extra printable sheet available with your font, or sometimes in the description of where you've got the font from, it gives examples of shorthands like this. So for this one, it gave us the Shift 8, which gave us this swoop. Okay, so this is our first one. So now I'm going to go ahead and start to type out Ashley, just like so. Now I need that heart. So how do I bring that heart in? Because if I go to start to type out, if I say, okay, well, maybe it is using and, it's not. So maybe if I start to type out, it's not going to give it to us. So we need to know how to get the heart. If you are using a Mac, you're in luck because you don't need a third-party program. You can access your glyphs right on your desktop. So what you're simply going to do is back down here. From your desktop, click on this little finder face right here. You're going to click on it. You're going to go to applications, and then you're going to quickly scroll down to where it says font book. So as you guys can see right here, it says font book. If you double click on that, it's going to open it up. From here, you can simply go to the font you're looking for. So on your left-hand side, you could go to all fonts. You can go to computer fonts, which are the ones that come with your computer, or you can go to user, which is the ones that you may have purchased from design bundles. So I'm already highlighted on user. So it's showing all of the ones that I currently have downloaded on this computer. So I'm going to locate the one that I want to find the glyphs for today. and it's right here. So if I click on it, these are all of the glyphs that are accessible. Now, if it's not showing up for you, you probably have it listed like this. So right here, if it's on the little lines, I call it kind of like a hamburger, you're going to have an example of what the font will look like. But if you actually go to the little squares, that's what's going to pull up your glyphs. And like I said, this is accessible if you guys are using a Mac. ISO, I believe is what we are. All right, so if you scroll down through here, you're going to see those. And what we're looking for, so see, there's that first swoop. If I want to grab it from here, what we're looking for is our heart. So we're going to scroll down until we see that. Now, these hearts are attached to the letter. So what I want to do is I want to find that letter Y because that was our last letter. You always want to find the last letter of the first name that you're doing. So I need to find the Y. I'm going to go down. Obviously, they're in alphabetical order. Once you find it, click on it. I'm going to hit Command C. If you hit Command C, so Command C on your keyboard, you're going to be able to grab it. That's going to copy it. So now what we can do is we can go back over here to Cricut Design Space. We're going to go back and forth just a little bit. And now I'm going to go to Command V. So the letter V is going to release it. So if I hit Command V, you can see that Y. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and delete this Y. So we only have one. So as you guys can see, that kind of Cricut Design Space decided to do something a little bit weird here. So what I'm going to do is hopefully if I hit enter, it'll clear itself. There we go. All right. So now let's just talk about right now. Cricut Design Space is always updating. So you may catch a day where it's off a little bit, but I just hit my space bar on my keyboard and it completely cleared it for me. I didn't have to exit or reload. All right, so now we have our heart. So let's continue on. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to type out Trenton. All right, just like so. Now I want to get rid of the letter N because I want to go find the N because with the last letter for this particular font, there is a glyph that is attached to the letter N that's going to give us that final swoop. So if you try to hit Shift 8, that's going to give you the first swoop and you don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop back down again. I'm going to come back up here and now see how these little N swoops here. So I'm going to go find that. So we're going to find the letter N, which is right here. We're going to hit Command C. We're going to go back to Cricut Design Space, open this back up, and then we're going to click on that N piece there and click Command V. So hopefully you guys can see that there. Super nice. So this is, you can see that whole piece. So if you ever look at that font like we've seen before, now this is perfect. It has the heart, it has the swoops, but that's how you're going to access those glyphs. If your font has a glyph, whenever you download it and you go to your font book, if it has glyphs, it's going to show them there. Now, another way to do so, I'm going to go ahead and drop it down really quickly. If I go to these lines here, sometimes I'm trying to remember exactly how it did it. So this is an example. So if you click on this N piece here, I know there is, I think it's info. So if you click on this little I here and you scroll down, if you scroll down to where it says glyphs, I don't have my glasses. So right here at the very bottom, it says glyph count has 152 glyphs. So if you're wondering if your font has a glyph to it, you're simply going to select it. And the one that you're looking for is the I. So to get the glyphs, it's the square. To get the information, if it even had glyphs in the first place, is the letter I. Scroll all the way down, look for glyph count, and that's where you're going to find your glyphs. So it's super duper easy. Now carrying on from this particular font, I'm going to show you guys how to do a knockout. Now, like I said, we do have a tutorial on it, but I'm going to go ahead and include it here in case somebody wants to learn all those things in one spot. All right, so what we're going to do here is we are going to bring in a second font. So what I have here, I've downloaded a font. I have all these fonts listed below for you. We're going to go to text. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go to system, and I'm going to start to type out bold. Because whenever you do this sort of design that I'm going to do today, you want a nice big bold design. So I'm using bold type today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down so I can see it. We're going to double click at that in there. And I'm going to type out, we're just going to go ahead and use white cotton. 1 second, I'm going to scroll over just to make sure. There we go. Okay, white cotton. Now, I'm going to go ahead and size this down just so I can see. We can actually zoom that out, but I'm going to size it down just so we can see a little better. There we go. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and do this here. All right. So once you have your last name typed out, a few things you want to do. You want to go ahead and hit that unlock button. And you may want to go ahead and resize it like so. So you may want to kind of drag that down just a little bit until you're happy with it and you think it looks good. And then we can go ahead and lock that back. Now, another thing is you may want to come up to letter spacing, which is right here. Click the down button and bring in that letter spacing just a little bit. So when it comes to this last name piece, you really want to have it nice and tight, not too close, but you want it close and you want to bring it down just a little. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to create, first of all, we're going to shrink this down. And I'm going to bring it in, let's see, let's do pink just so we can visually see here. And what I need to do is go to arrange. So we're going to come up here to arrange and we are going to send to the front. So as you guys can see here, I'm going to size it out because what I'm wanting to do is I want those glyphs, the little swoops to be on, kind of going on the outside. I think this looks good. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of centering that in the design there, just like so. The very next step that we're going to do, this is called a knockout design. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go up to that offset, and then I am going to create our little offset here. All right, so I'm happy with that. Looks good to me. I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. So now we have this little back layer here. And what I can do is I'm actually going to move this out of the way just to make sure there's nothing that I need to contour like I showed you guys before. I'm going to go ahead and undo just to put that back where it belongs, because if there was little spots, you would want to contour those out, hide all contours. All right, so now what we want to do is we're actually going to move that Ashley and Trenton out of the way. We're going to select these two together. Now, what we need to do is we're going to slice these, and you want to make sure if they are not one solid piece, you would want to weld the pieces together. So there we go. So we're going to delete the insides and we're going to keep the out. So now what we have here is if you put the name right back in there, you have a knockout. It's gorgeous. So pretty, just like so. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this on a blue background just so you guys can see that really pop off there. So it's really cool. And I may even do a grade just so we can kind of see. Now you could definitely still do like a knockout inside if you want to, but this is just going to put the names right inside. So this has been super popular over the years. You may want to put this on a cutting board and things like that. You could put this down the side of a tumbler. Lots of different fun things that you can do with that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that unbutton there. Unbutton, undo button. I'm going to go ahead and change our background black back to that white. All right. Now, a few more things. For example, if I did need to weld something, I would just go down and hit the weld. But I do believe with Cricut's new update recently with their text, we didn't have to do that, as you guys could see today. But what we have went over is adding an offset. We have downloaded and uploaded our own fonts. Like I said, changing the colors of those. We've done our offset. Lots of fun things to do. Now I want to go ahead and actually show you one more. I'm going to bring back in that bold text really quick. I'm going to bring it down here. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and type out, let's go ahead and just do bundles. All right. So now that I have typed out bundles, another thing that you actually can do too is if we go over here and we change it to a print and cut, another option we're going to get is not just changing colors. We can actually turn that into a pattern. So if you click on that color, you can see where it says print type color. We can actually do pattern. So we can actually do a really fun pattern in here if we wanted to. And you can actually even upload your very own patterns to do in here as well. But I'm just going to go ahead and show you one really quickly. So for example, I say quickly and then I'm like going to take my time. Let's see here. So let's do this red plaid here. So for example, if I want to create a really fun sticker here, I'm going to do this and then I'm going to come in. I definitely want to add that offset unless you didn't. You wanted to cut these out. You could definitely do so. But I'm going to go in and add that offset and I'm going to hit apply. And then I'm going to go ahead and change that offset back to a white. There we go. And then to create that sticker, remember that you want to do flatten. Anytime you're creating a sticker, you definitely want to use that flatten so it becomes one solid design. We can size that down so it's a sticker. I'm going to change our background to black just so you can see that really pop off of there, just like so. So it's really cool. Now, another thing, just in case you guys didn't know, if you wanted to get rid of your grid or change the size, this little blank square over here on the left, you can make teensy tiny squares or you can just have it solid black. So you can definitely do that as well. And then I'll bring this out so you can really kind of see that design in there. It's so cool. So this would be perfect for sublimation or, that Caesar Easy Subly and things like that, or whether you were creating a sticker. And just like that, it's that easy to upload and use your very own fonts right there inside of Cricut Design Space. Now, just to recap, we have went over using the glyphs, we have used the offset, we've ungrouped two lines, we have used patterns and all sorts of fun things. So I hope at some point in time you guys have found either inspiration along the way or you guys have learned something new today. So if you guys haven't tried the new text box over in Cricut Design Space for 2022, definitely go check it out and play around with it. Now, keep in mind another note to remember you don't always have to exit completely out. You can always just reload your screen. Now, if you guys have not already, come join us over on our community Facebook group. We have tons of other crafters over there, lots of inspiration using our design so you guys can see lots of fun projects. We also have dollar deals over there, we have promo codes, lots and lots of fun stuff going on. Plus, if you guys have any sort of questions, we can answer them really quickly over there. You're going to see myself as well as many others over there in the group. So I have that linked in the description below. Also, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel yet, definitely hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you guys enjoyed this tutorial. So I will see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.